So these mould lines, you can see, tell you what, if I move this up a bit, perhaps the camera will begin to focus more on what's ahead rather than what's behind. Second, let me just move this light out the way for the time being, and get my head in close. So, this mould line here, you can get rid of it using a knife, like so. You sort of draw the knife along it, and you sort of gently scratch it away. It gets a bit tricky sometimes. But it's worth doing. This is why my battle force I put up in the first video is now on sale. It had about 20 hours of prep, just cleaning up all the Space Marines, and because there's that many mould lines that need to get rid of. Tedious work. I basically just clipped everything from all the screws and just cleaned them all up as I went. Even though I wasn't going to be using half of them. Save you time in the future if I want to use some bits out of the bits box if they're already cleaned up. The other thing you can do when cleaning up, and that's use a tool like this, which is only recently bought this. It's a seam sweeper. It's like a triangular, really hard metal like this. Is really quite sharp on the edges, but so not as sharp as a blade. I've actually yet to use it, so let's have a go and see if this works the same way as the knife. Oop. We'll get some getting used to this, but I don't know. Maybe I was better off using a knife. Maybe this was a wasted purchase. We'll see. It seems to work. I'm just not. I keep stabbing the front bit in. Just scratching them all. You know what? I think that'll be much better for the longer, more obvious seams. Time being, I'll just use the knife. So I'm going to go over all these parts that I've just cut out doing this, and I'll just fast forward the video accordingly. So I'll see you in a few minutes. So let's assemble these so that they can be drying whilst we move on to the pot. So first bit to glue would be the head, and that's always worth dry fitting parts before you commit to glue. Just check there's no problems, make sure the fit's nice. That looks so cool. But the fit for this is perfect. Now let's talk a bit about glue. I know lots of people use all sorts of glues. I often see people use this plastic cement, basically liquid glue. You only works on plastics. Put a bit of glue on a piece of plastic, push it against another, and it actually melts the plastic together like a weld. I used to use this all the time, but even though it comes with a needle, I always found I always put too much glue would come out of it, and I'd over glue areas and I'd stick things together and the glue would squirt out between seams, and you'll get that nasty sort of melted plastic ooze, and it comes out, and then you panic and then you try and get rid of it whilst it's still wet, and then that just smudges everywhere and you get glue on your fingers, and then you'll touch another part of the model and then all of a sudden you've imprinted your thumb into the model, you know, all sorts of hassle. I discovered this other kind of glue. This is Tamiya extra thin cement. It's exactly the same stuff, but as you can tell, it's extremely liquidy. It's like water, and it comes with a brush applicator like that. The great thing about this stuff is it literally takes like the welding action of plastic cement and literally makes it a weld. What you usually do with this is you would place the component in to where you want it, and then using this you would get some on the end, wipe off the excess, and you would literally just touch around the seams, and what this glue will do, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it zips around all the seam lines, gets into the gap, the capillary action of the glue, and because it's so liquid and it flows so well, it just, you tap it and it'll just zip around, and you can brush it on as well. I mean, to be honest, this is the inside, so it doesn't matter if I went like that really. But see how I've smothered the top surface with glue. That'll dry, and as long as you don't prod it or touch it whilst it's drying, you won't notice that. That doesn't damage the surface texture. And that's the great thing about this glue. You can just put the part in, dab a bit of glue, it'll weld itself, it dries really quick, and you're done. No messy blobs of glue. Whilst it's drying, you can push parts together and you can make glue come out. Sometimes you might want that to basically fix a seam. You could put excess glue there and squeeze it, let the glue come out, and then once it's dry you can sand it off and get it back to being smooth. But yeah, I love this glue. This glue is perfect for all sorts of modelling aircrafts especially, because the way it welds the seams together. So yeah, so I'm going to use the same glue to glue all of this together. I think the next part worth gluing, well, I'm just going to dry fit this together actually, and we'll see where we're at. So that goes there. Okay, this goes. Let me see. Okay, hang on. There's little slots for this, so that goes like that, and the faceplate goes on top like that, and the roof section, get it the right way. Okay, so I should glue them together before I glue the front one. Nice if it told me that. It doesn't really tell me the order in which to assemble it, just Yeah, well, that's the benefit of dry fitting, I guess. I guess with this sort of setup, actually, you could magnetise this front panel. Have it so you can swap out for the other ones. Might be worth doing in the future. I do have some magnets. Okay, so that seems to go together fine. What I'll do then is I'll start with gluing these on. Now, the other thing you can do with cement, just like this other normal glue, you can't just put a whopping great big amount in a hole. It dries really quick, so you know you don't have a lot of time. If you leave it, it will just evaporate, and this won't actually bond. But I'll put it in, and then I'll have a look around the model, and I can see the seam. So I'll just put a bit of glue. This is great because you can just like almost paint the glue on, and it doesn't matter if you miss a bit, as long as you don't touch it afterwards, let it dry. You won't notice any difference. Sometimes it's actually better to do this from the inside, just in case. If you actually, you definitely don't want any sort of glue marks, or you don't want to accidentally put your fingers in it and smudge it. Do it from the inside, can't go wrong. It's glued from the inside. It doesn't matter if you put excess glue in. Take a little longer to dry, but you're not going to be marring any surfaces. So yeah, that's that bit done. Next is the roof section. Just fits on in between, so there we go. That'll be the see, if I do that, basically I just don't want to get this wrong. No, that's about right. So if I put generous helping of glue on the top of those bits, push that on there, and then that'll do. Test fit this. Just a nice snug fit. I mean, so far this kit's going together really well. The rest of it's like this. See, I'm just putting a bit of glue down first so it sticks, and then I'll go along the seams to do the actual final weld. So there's a seam in here, and a seam and there's a seam around this area. I hope the camera is auto-focusing properly, because I only get a brief chance to look at it. It's by the side of me, but if I'm looking at that I can't be paying attention to what I'm doing here. Yeah, okay. Oh, there we go. There's the other seam. It's underneath there. Put a big helping of glue there. Due to its placement, you probably, even if you did mess it up a bit, it wouldn't matter too much. And that is looking pretty good. So